Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody has had an awesome week, and I hope you're all looking forward to a great weekend and a great start to 2022. Happy New Year to all of you. It's still December the 31st at 5:30 a.m. in my location, but I know that all the way on the other side of the world you're already welcoming in the New Year. So happy New Year's to those of you who are celebrating. Students, in this class we are looking at an IELTS reading section, and we're practicing skills for that perfect Band 9 results. So bear with me, stay with me in this class. Welcome in the new year with some intellectual study. Hopefully all of you have some great New Year's resolutions with positive attitude looking forward. Hi Carolina, welcome to our chat moderator. Students, this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Check us out there for the general IELTS. Check us out at gieltshelp.com. The reading passage that we're looking at today is from aehelp.com. It is an academic IELTS reading passage, but nevertheless, it's very useful for the general IELTS as well, because General IELTS reading section 3 is very similar to the academic reading sections, whereby it's one long passage, about 700 words, with about 13 questions that you need to answer afterwards. Hi Amrinder, hi Pushpendra, hi Cass, Hasna, Rashika. Nice to see many of our members. Nice to see you being so studious on the approach to New Year's. That's awesome. All right, everybody. So our websites look like this. For academic IELTS, please visit aehelp.com and just click this big red button to join the premium package. For general IELTS, it's the green background, and you can click this big red button to join the premium package there. Both of these websites have lots of computer-based practice exams, paper-based exams, lesson videos in HD, a fully interactive course, and of course app support. We're an official IELTS test registration center and certified agents. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access to these websites, and it doesn't cost a lot. So it's really worth your time and effort and your money to join those websites when you are sitting the IELTS exam. Get our apps, Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help, from your app store, and follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp and GIELTS Help. You can get our schedules, vocabulary, and lots of other goodies on our Instagram profiles. And if you have questions, you can just send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com, or if you just want to wish me a Happy New Year, you can send me an email. I love those kinds of wishes as well. So just get a hold of me, and we'll get back to you shortly. All right, our books, our exam books, are on Amazon. You can get them in digital or hard copy versions. Look for the titles AE Helps Academic IELTS or GE Helps General IELTS. Students, we've got two classes today. We've got this reading class right now, and we've got the listening part 1 and part 2 coming up as well, that everybody will be able to join. And then we've got some classes tomorrow also. So we've got task 1 writing for members, and we'll have another speaking part 1. So we're doing live classes all the way into the new year, pushing forward. I know that 2020 and 2021 has really been challenging for a lot of people with this global pandemic, also of course creating lots of economic pressure as well. And there's a wise saying that the willow tree shows its strength in the winter months. So now's a good time to focus, study, stay positive, work hard, and push through these challenging times. And we're here to do that with you. So, all right. Cass says, hi, Adrian. It's almost New Year's here. 4 more hours to go. That's exciting, Cass. All right. Hasna, yeah, a lot of students find reading difficult. You have to have sustained focus on English. You have to understand more challenging vocabulary and a global idea. And we're going to do that today. And we're going to look at our reading passage, Explosions in Space, Supernovae. This is our second exam, and it's our reading passage 3. And I thought I'd kind of pick this one for New Year's as well, just because it's kind of festive looking. It's like ba-boom. And it's kind of like fireworks almost, but in the night sky, if you will. So supernovae. And it also signifies rebirth or a new start in some sense, as you'll discover. So I thought it was kind of a fitting reading passage to welcome in 2022. Okay, everyone, so let's do this. So the first step in your reading, of course, is to read the titles. So here we have Explosions in Space, Supernovae. What is that? So what is an explosion in space? And that's kind of, you know, your first step, right? Is your step 1, we've talked about this, is look at the title and infer the passage. The word infer means make an educated guess based on the available information. Okay, here we have a picture. We have the words explosions in space. What do you think that is, everyone? So what could this passage be about? What is this author going to be writing about based on that pretty picture and that title? Okay, and that's exactly what you want to ask yourself very quickly in your mind when you're looking at a passage in the IELTS exam. What is this going to be about? Okay, and there's a simple answer to that. So me says maybe something about the galaxy. Amrinder says potentially something about the Big Bang Theory, so the origin of the universe. By the way, students, I'm not sure if you know, but a really exciting piece of news just recently is the launching of the James Webb telescope. It is by far the most advanced telescope that humans have ever built. We just put that into space, and it's going to be exploring the origin of the universe. So exactly what Amrinder is thinking. But supernovae, this passage is not quite the same. Not completely different, but not quite the same. Baljit says it's the explosion of stars. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so keep it simple. Don't get too creative. These IELTS passages, especially these academic ones, are quite focused. So it's about the explosion of stars in space. Okay, why is the author writing about this? So when you go through thinking about the passage and predicting from the title, think about the what, why, how, right? So this is your critical thinking. So why would somebody write about exploding stars? So what's, and I think a lot of you are kind of thinking about the right context. So Mal says the making of galaxies. Kulin says it's about from birth to death for stars. Yeah. Cool, that's really good. Okay, that's really good inferring. So Colin is saying stars from birth to death. Yeah, that's very good. And why would somebody write about that? So, you know, we could talk about a lot of other interesting topics like tigers last week. So Baccarat says, let's just keep it simple. It's about supernova. Yeah, but what is that, Baccarat, right? And why talk about it? So why talk about supernova? Mal says to know how stars are made. Yeah, I think, I think that's circular reasoning, Mal. So don't answer a question with a question, like how stars are made. Okay, Amrinder says because this has an effect on Earth also. Exactly, yeah. So because this has an effect on Earth and on humans, right? So usually humans don't really care much about an idea or about some object or phenomenon unless it affects us. It's kind of human nature, right? So humans really worry or think about things that affect them primarily. And that's probably why humans for the longest time didn't care about the environment or didn't care about pollution, because they didn't really see it. They didn't feel the effects. And so they're just like, eh, whatever. But now, surely when we go out and we see garbage floating in the ocean, or when we feel that it's way too hot outside, we start to get worried. We realize that we're a part of the environment. And now, guess what? We're talking lots about the environment. We're talking lots about pollution. And that's not going to stop. We're probably going to hear and discuss much more about this in 2022 as it becomes more prevalent for our human lives, right? So if we saw our own sun dying, so like if we saw the sun, by the way, is our star, right? And if we saw the sun dying, I bet you the only topic anybody would be talking about is the sun dying, right? So some scientists are pretty clever. They think ahead, and they're like, well, this has an effect on Earth and on humans and on our thinking. Okay, so let's talk about it. Okay, so how do you think, and I want to stay positive here, I don't want to start 2022 with doom and gloom. Let's hope all the world turns for the better. So let's ask the how question. So how will the author discuss this topic of stars being born? I really liked Lynn's approach here. So how will the author discuss this topic of stars being born and dying? Okay. And again, you want to do this at the start of your reading passage, and you're doing this very quickly, so in a matter of seconds or 1 or 2 minutes, because you're going to understand the passage so much better when you do it in this way, right, members? So Baljit says humans make a wish when they see a star exploded. Yeah, so this shooting star, we believe, is a star exploding, right, Baljit? We make a wish. Okay, so how will the author discuss this topic? What do you think? So if you wrote, think about it like this. If you wrote an article on supernovae, on the birth and the death of stars, what would you do? How would you write that passage? Yeah, so Baljit, very good. So Baljit says, well, let's talk about it from the research perspective. So talking about the research. Yeah, so exactly. By discussing the science and research that we have gathered or done to understand this process. Yeah, exactly, Baljit. That's how you would do it. That's how I would do it, right? We would probably these days do it a little bit more than in the past, like, ooh, look up there, boom. Yeah, so based on the research of astronomers, Cass, absolutely, that makes sense. So if you're thinking that way, you're going to understand the passage much, much more because you're priming your brain, you're getting it ready to absorb information, right? And that's great. That's what you want to do. So again, what is it about? Explosions of stars, their birth and their death maybe. This has an effect on humans, on Earth, on our thinking. Discussing the science and the research, that's how we're going to do this. And it's fast. Train your brain to think fast like that. Okay. All right, and then step 2, we go to the questions. And we review the questions. Okay. So we review the questions because those will give us further help. Okay. So step 2, read and review the questions. At home, paraphrase the questions on paper. In the exam, do this in your head. Okay? Because the questions and the passage are paraphrased, so the questions aren't going to be verbatim. Okay, verbatim means word for word. Okay, they're not word for word. They are using synonyms, grammar, and other types of paraphrasing to really kind of challenge you to solve these questions, okay? So here's our first question. Reading passage 1 has 5 paragraphs, A to E. A, B, C, D, E, yeah, 5. Okay, and you have to match this information. All right, so here we have the first one, mass energy conversion. All right. What is another way to say mass energy conversion? Mass energy conversion. What is mass energy, and what is another way to say conversion? I'm pretty sure you can come up with another way to say conversion. If you can't figure out another way to say mass energy, then that's fine. Keep that the same, but at least paraphrase the word conversion. Buckrat says huge energy transformation. Yeah, transformation is a really good word, Buckrat. They probably won't use huge in the passage, okay, so you might want to think of something else, but the word transformation is a good one to think about. So mass energy. And mass doesn't necessarily mean massive here, Buckrat, so I would say matter energy transformation. So matter energy transformation. Okay, that's how I would paraphrase it. The next one, the requirements for a type 1a supernova. Okay, so the necessary factors for 1a supernova. Now, be quick. Don't get lost in thoughts. Okay? All right? Supernovae as intergalactic measuring sticks. So, supernovae as units of measurement in the universe. Okay? All right. Cass for the previous one says qualifications for type 1a supernova. Yeah, Cass, I think that's good. Yeah, that works. Bandita says a lot of energy transformation. That could be it as well. All right. Mass, if you're thinking about physics students, mass also means matter, like something that has weight. Okay. All right. Heavy elements come from supernovae. Okay, what are heavy elements? For example, metals and other massive elements originate from supernovae? Sure. Okay. The fuel used for stars. All right. So the substance burned by stars. Okay. Sure. And then the last one. Supernovae are the progenitors of much of existence. So supernovae are the creators of much of the universe. Okay, instead of existence, maybe. So again, I'm not really, getting stuck thinking about, well, what's another way to say existence? What is progenitors? I'm just doing my best, all right? Baccarat says metals generated from supernovae. Yeah, not all heavy elements are metals, but many of them are, so it's a good way to think about it, sure. Okay. And then you continue the same way. So any question where you know the information will be in the passage somewhere, you read it and you paraphrase it. Okay. So write your answers in boxes 33 to 36 on your answer sheet. Type 2 supernovae originate from a star, which is, so type 2 supernovae come from a star that is, right? The energy producing process in a star converts. So, all right, let's do this one. The power making system in a star changes. Paraphrasing, by the way, students, also really helps to increase your vocabulary and your thinking in English. Converts this into this. So it's a two-part question. Okay. All right, and then I keep going this way. So I do 35 and 36 as well, and I paraphrase them. And then I look at these ones here, and look at that. I've got some multiple choice. In the multiple choice questions, students, when you're reviewing the multiple choice questions, and some really nice writing there, Cass and Lynn and Baljit, and it's good. So everybody, Bandita as well, keep going, all right? So even if I don't catch your paraphrasing, I'm also pushing, so some of you might be thinking, well, why is Adrian going so fast? Why aren't we really stopping for each question and dissecting it? Because you don't really have time for that in the real IELTS, and I know you can do this at home on your own time. So I'm also pushing you to do this quickly, okay? Yes, do it accurately. Yes, pay attention. Do it on paper at home. At some point while you're preparing for your IELTS exam, make sure that you start to practice doing this quickly. And before your IELTS exam, simulate the real IELTS and make sure to do this in your mind so that you can be like, okay, Adrian, I can do this in 20 minutes. So I can go through a whole passage in 20 minutes. Okay, so multiple choice. Multiple choice questions, we kind of ignore all of these choices. Firstly, because there's so much to read that I don't want to waste my time reading all of these, okay? So all I focus on in the multiple choice, so in multiple choice question, just focus on the question or the questions before the passage and convert them to statements with paraphrasing. And there's a very logical reason for that, okay? You're not going to see a question in the passage. It's very unlikely, Okay, so you're not going to see the author writing, why not? Okay, so the sun will not become a type 1a supernova. Why not? Let's convert this into a statement. So the sun is never going to transform into a type 1a supernova because, okay, so that would be my paraphrase here. That's what I mean by changing the original question, in this case you've got a bit of statement as well, into a statement that's paraphrased. All right, and again, don't overthink it. Keep it simple. Okay. So, yeah, Bandita, so you're asking the question, is the paraphrasing required while practicing at home or in the actual exam? Bandita, both. So the difference is that when you're practicing for the exam, you should write it down on paper, and when you're doing it in the real exam, you only have time to do it upstairs, up in the old noggin, okay, in the brain, right? Baljit says the sun cannot be turned into a type 1a supernova because, don't forget that word because, Baljit, and that will help your brain look for that reason in the passage while you're reading. Okay? All right, this one, you don't do anything with it because it's the name and it already is a statement. So the Chandra-Sekhar limit is. Okay, so I'm just going to keep that, you know. So the Chandra-Sekhar limit is. There's not really much paraphrasing that you can do there. Okay, if two type 1a supernovae are observed and one is brighter than the other, what can be concluded about the dimmer one? So you can paraphrase this one. Might be a bit tricky. This is why you want to practice at home. So here we go, all right? A dimmer means less bright. A less bright, so watch, I'm going to reverse the grammar here. So a less bright type 1a supernovae seen along with a brighter one means that it is and then something. Okay, so simplified. So less bright type 1a supernovae seen along with a brighter one means that it is. Okay, so you can often simplify it. Sometimes these IELTS questions are overly complex in the exam, and it's a good idea to simplify. Okay. And then supernovae can be compared to, sure, let's do that one. So supernovae are akin to. Okay, all right. So we're good there, and now we're ready to read. Okay, and students, this is reading, so read with me, okay? Let's read together. And for the reading, let's listen to a British person read. So what I'd like you to do is, while we're reading, really focus on the structure of the passage. So what are we talking about first? What are we talking about second? What's the structure of the essay? There should be a thesis. There should be an introduction. There's going to be body paragraph 1, 2, 3. There's going to be a conclusion. Focus on what each of these paragraphs are explaining, visualize it, and you're going to do a great job. So I'm going to use my headset here, and we're going to hop over to our website. This is CD2 track 7, so that's what we're looking for. Okay, so we're in the academic website, which is the blue background. I'm hopping into my student account. In my student account, I've got all of these awesome materials, the computer-based practice exams, online academic course, exam books, study plans. You can download those, lesson videos, and then we've got the audio CDs. So right now I'm going to audio CD 2 and track 7, and then I'm going to hop back to our reading and we're going to read together. So here we go, students. Get ready to read with this native British English speaker here.
Supernovae. Supernovae are among the most spectacular events in the universe. They are incredibly powerful. In just a few weeks, they can release the same amount of energy as our Sun will release in its entire lifetime. Supernovae. Supernovae are among the most spectacular events in the universe. They are incredibly powerful. In just a few weeks, they can release the same amount of energy as our Sun will release in its entire lifetime. Supernovae are also the origin of many of the elements that make up the universe. Most of the elements of the periodic table require enormous amounts of energy to produce, and supernovae are the only source of this energy. Due to their consistent brightness, supernovae are used to measure large distances across the universe. There are two major types of supernovae, Type 1a and Type 2. There are a number of differences between the two, but the main difference is the process by which they come into being. Type 2 supernovae originate from a dying star. A star begins to die when it runs out of fuel. Fuel for stars is the element hydrogen. For their entire lives, stars fuse hydrogen into helium, producing energy in the process. This energy comes from the difference in mass between the helium molecule and the 4 constituent hydrogen atoms. 4 hydrogen atoms have a mass of approximately 4.0318 atomic mass units, while a helium's atom's mass is approximately 4.0026 atomic mass units. The difference between these two values is the amount of mass which is converted into pure energy. In a dying star, there is no more hydrogen. All that is left is helium. At that point, the star begins to fuse helium molecules together to form carbon molecules. Once all the carbon is gone, the star moves on to even heavier elements, and the star consumes these heavy elements at faster and faster rates. A star may take 10 million years to consume its hydrogen, and then take 1 million years to consume its helium, 1,000 years for the carbon, 3 years to consume the neon, 3 months for the oxygen, and only 5 days to convert all of the silicon into iron. There is a stopping point, however. Once the core of the star is entirely iron, there can be no more fusion. This is because the small difference in mass that is converted into energy is not present in the case of iron. The star is then left with an inactive iron core. Once the iron core reaches a certain mass, called the Chandrasekhar limit, the star can no longer exist under its own weight and collapses in on itself. The result is a cataclysmic Type 2 supernova. The other type of supernova is the Type 1a. Type 1a supernovae are formed most commonly in binary star systems, where there are 2 stars which rotate around a common point. For a supernova Type 1a to occur, one of the stars has to be a white dwarf. A white dwarf is the remnant of a low-mass star that has come to the end of its stellar life. Our Sun will one day be a white dwarf because it lacks the mass needed to blow up in a supernova Type 2 explosion. In a binary system, the white dwarf star gravitationally attracts matter from its companion star, with the matter taken from the companion star becoming part of the white dwarf. Eventually, the white dwarf will have added so much mass that it begins to approach the Chandrasekhar limit. Once it hits this limit, just like in Type 2 explosions, the white dwarf can no longer sustain itself and the core of the star collapses. The star blows itself up in an even more spectacular event than the Type 2 explosion. Type 1a supernovae are extremely bright. If the Sun were to be replaced by a Type 1a supernova, it would appear 5 billion times brighter. This brightness is also very consistent from one supernova type 1a to another supernova type 1a. This consistency has led astronomers to use supernovae type 1a as what are called standard candles. A standard candle is used to determine how far away an object is. For example, if we observe a supernova type 1a in a nearby galaxy, we can tell very accurately how far away it is by comparing the apparent brightness of the supernova observed with its absolute brightness. Respectively, if the supernova is very bright, the galaxy is quite close. If the supernova is very dim, the galaxy is very far away. Supernovae are responsible for every element in the universe that is heavier than iron. Every atom of gold, silver, tin, and lead, as well as 80 other elements in the universe, were born in supernova. Supernovae are also the origin of most newly born stars in the universe. Our Sun, for example, was born from a cloud of dust and gas that was left over from a supernova. The Earth, likewise, was born from a supernova. It is not too imaginative, therefore, to regard the plants, animals, and humans on this planet as a development of this supernova. Every atom of our bodies was once scattered in a supernova explosion. Therefore, many scientists believe supernovae are the crucibles of existence itself.
Hello there. Have a seat.
Thank you.
All right, students. So that was the reading, again, off the website by a native British English speaker. For those of you who have access to our websites at aehelp.com, glshelp.com, make sure you use that reading audio to help you improve your fluency for the reading section. Okay, so let's see how many of you kind of followed this progression of information. What was paragraph A about? Can anybody tell me? And Carolina says that was about 6 minutes of reading. Yeah, so it was pretty quick. And on the IELTS, Carolina, you can be even a little bit slower. So you can be 7 to 8 minutes on a passage like that. So what was paragraph 1 about? What does the author do in paragraph 1? Okay. All right, and you shouldn't have, so once you get good at this, and even if you don't understand every single word in the passage or in the paragraph, you should at least be able to pull out kind of the main idea of that paragraph. So in this case, what was the main idea of paragraph A here? Baljit says it's about the event of supernovae. Yeah, exactly. So it is. So this paragraph introduced the occurrence and importance of supernovae. Right? So, paragraph A, the origins of supernovae, says Bakra. Yeah, absolutely. All right. What does paragraph B do? So paragraph B is a nice, big, long one here. What is paragraph B about? Okay. So paragraph B does a couple of, or explains a couple of concepts. What does paragraph B do? And you can even just glance at it and see it. Okay, so Jihane says the difference of two types of supernovae. I'm just going to do SN for now for supernovae. Yeah, Mal says how they are made, the difference of two types of supernovae, the way the process works, especially for type 2. right? Okay. Yeah, Bandita says formation of type 2. So basically, if you take what Bandita, what Mal, and what Jihane said, and you put it together, then you've summarized paragraph B. So the difference of two types of supernovae, the way the process works, especially for type 2. Okay? Right. So paragraph C, what is that about? And I think many of you will figure this out. So the way that type 1a supernovae work. Okay? Sure. All right. What is paragraph D about? Yeah, Baljeet got it very fast for the previous, for paragraph C. So type 1a, the way that it works. Okay, and how about paragraph D? So paragraph D, I think that was pretty quick. And even if you're just looking at it at a glance, you can kind of see what's going on here. Yeah, Cass, very good. So Cass says the formation of type 1a supernovae. Yep. Now let's go to paragraph D. So paragraph D, what is it about? Yeah. Okay, so Bakrat got it, Bandita got it. For C, paragraph D is, yeah, Baljeet says type 1a brightness and its utility for measuring the universe or galaxy's universe, right? Okay. Yeah. Cass, it's not the two types of supernovae, it's just the type 1a, right? Still type 1a. And then the last paragraph, and I think many of you will get this. Okay, so supernovae as the origin of much of existence and heavier elements. Okay. So when you are practicing your reading sections at home, students, and this is especially true for the academic IELTS, make sure that you take this time to basically summarize each paragraph's key points. And this isn't necessarily just the first sentence of each paragraph, so be really careful. I know some teachers are saying like, oh, just read the first sentence. That's what the paragraph is about. Sometimes it's true, but it's not always true, so you should read the whole passage. Once you have this, and once you have this accurately, then you can now figure out the answers to many of the questions accurately and quickly. Okay, so here we have basically the summary of each of these highlighted. Okay, paragraph introduces the occurrence and the importance, the difference of the two types, the way the process works, especially type 2, the way type 1 works, type 1 brightness, its utility, and the origin of much of existence. So if you look at it like this, then you realize that, oh yeah, this reading wasn't that bad. I kind of got these points, right? Okay. So is everybody doing this? Members, are you doing this kind of one sentence, accurate, coherent summarization of paragraphs as you're practicing your reading passages at home? Yes? Are you doing this, students? And be honest here. If you're not, then definitely start doing this. So when you're practicing your reading and you're checking your reading comprehension, make sure to do this at home as you're getting ready. So members, are you practicing this? This summarizing of the paragraphs? Bakrat says, yeah. Good, Bakrat. You get a thumbs up. That's fantastic. That's what you should be. Cass says, yes, but I'm still practicing. I guess that's kind of a so-so answer, Cass. Yeah. Jihane says, no. Jihane, definitely start doing it. Okay? All right? Okay. So now we can answer these questions. All right. Number 27, mass energy conversion. Which paragraph is that going to be? Very easy. We don't need to look because we just summarized the paragraphs, right? So mass energy conversion or matter energy transformation. Okay, Bandita, yeah, more to practice for sure. All right, everyone. So what is mass? Which paragraph talks about converting this into that into that, or transforming this into this, that into that? Should be pretty quick here. Shouldn't be too tough. Which one is it, members? Which paragraph is it? Should be nice and fast here. We shouldn't have to search for these. And again, students, questions 27 to 32, the matching the paragraph with the right statement, you can't skim read for that. You have to read the passages. This is exactly where this kind of strategy that I just showed you is really useful, where you summarize each. Okay, Mal says C, I think. So mass energy conversion, another way to think about it is the process by which supernovae occur. Okay, which paragraph talks about the process by which supernovae occur? Yeah, B. Very important advice, Baljeet. Usually your first thought or your first intuition when you're doing multiple choice kind of thinking, and this is still kind of a multiple choice type of thinking, is correct. So Baljeet, if you think it's B, check B first. If you're not sure that it's B, look at paragraph B, but definitely check B first because you're probably right. Okay? So paragraph B, if we go back, right, our summary says this. So it says the difference, the way the process works. So the way the process works is mass energy conversion, right? So hydrogen is converted into helium, I believe. Yeah, hydrogen into helium. Okay, so this energy comes from the difference in mass between helium molecule. Okay, and then there's energy that's being converted from helium into carbon. Carbon is converted into helium or neon or something like that. Okay, so it's definitely B. All right, so correct answer is B. All right. The requirements for a type 1a supernovae, the necessary factors for a type 1a supernovae. So this should be nice and fast. You shouldn't have to think about this. It is what? Which paragraph? If you summarize, like, I honestly think it's actually not a bad idea in the official IELTS to even write down on a piece of paper what each paragraph is about in a few words. Okay. So Cass says 28 is clearly C, and Amrinder agrees, and I agree as well. So definitely, right? We said that. C is about type 1a requirements. Yeah. 29, supernovae as intergalactic measuring sticks. Okay. Supernovae as units of measurement in the universe. So number 29. If you think it, Mal, believe it, and then check it. Okay. So 29, Cass says B because of the measurements mentioned. Cass, remember our summarization? So type 1a, brightness and its utility for measuring the universe. Remember? Our summary here is exactly that. Oftentimes this match, it's kind of like a list of headings is very similar in some ways to this. But in matching information to the right paragraph, you don't always have the title of that, but here that's what it is, okay? So it's D here, right? So B, C, D. Heavy elements come from supernovae. Metals and other massive elements originate. Okay, so we had that, right? So it was E, remember? With gold and silver and those heavier elements. Very good. A lot of you got that very quickly. Amrinder, Bakrat, Baljeet, very good. The fuel used for stars, the substance burnt by stars, what is it? I think some of you should remember this. So, what was the fuel used by stars? For number 31. I'm sure you'll come up with the right answer. Bakrat has it already. What was it? Yeah, very good. It was hydrogen. Very good, Cass. Yeah, very nice. So when you know the answer, you can be confident. And hydrogen is all in paragraph B. For these questions, you can use a paragraph more than once, right? So paragraph B. These questions always have this part. Note, by the way, you may use a letter more than once. Okay. All right, supernovae are the progenitors of much of existence. Supernovae are the creators of much of the universe. That last one. What was it? So which paragraph said that, hey, maybe everything in the universe, including animals, plants, humans, the earth, they all come from, yeah, Cass, very good, E. Okay. Good. All right, so that's how you do that. Okay, and again, it's very fast when you do a good job in the reading. A lot of times students say, like, I don't have enough time for the reading. I can't do the passage in 20 minutes. That's because they don't read the passage carefully, so they're just spending all of their time searching for answers. If you read the passage carefully, if you do good thinking, everyone, then you do have enough time, okay? All right, so questions 33 to 40, all of these ones, they're in the lesson, and I'm going to give you this for homework. So let's take a quick peek here. Okay, so this is question 33. This is question 34. This is question 35. You're going to be able to review this in the video later. Okay. Send me an email with your answers and I'll send you back the answer key. And then here's question 37, question 38, question 39, question 40. Okay. So that's for your homework. Okay. So homework. Email me the answers to questions, what was it, 33 to 40? To 40, and I will send you the answer key. Send it to Adrian at aehelp.com. Okay, everyone, I'm going to stop there for today. I want to give you a little bit of break between the two classes. We've got a listening class coming up still, okay? So make sure to visit us at aehelp.com for all these awesome materials. That's this website here. Click this big red button to join our premium IELTS package there. Get all of our 6 full IELTS practice exams. For the general IELTS, visit this one with the green background, gieltshelp.com. Click that to get access to all of our exams. Students, I'm going to be coming back in 30 minutes with another class. So we are continuing with our New Year's, IELTS, live classes, and I'm super excited that you're all here with me kind of celebrating. I know Cass was saying that you're really close to New Year's, so that's really, really exciting. Okay. Jane is asking, is the text available online or do we have to rewatch the video? Jane, the text is available if you have access to our premium IELTS course. If you don't, then you have to rewatch the video, but you know, of course, you can jump in the video to the end of the video once it's up, okay? All right, everyone. Again, I hope that life is treating you well going into 2022, and I hope that you're going to come back in 30 minutes and hang out with me a little bit more for listening, part 1 and 2, strategy and practice. Thank you so much, members, for your support, and your hard work will pay off. I'm sure that many of you will have successful moments in 2022, so keep it up. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out for now, but I will be back in about 30 minutes. Bye, everyone.